Welcome students. Today we are going to discuss a chapter called as biological classification. So here we are trying to classify different kinds of organisms, or you can say biological living creatures. Okay, so we will discuss today from Monera till fungi or fungi. Okay, so fungi or fungi are, first of all, I'll just clear the pronunciation here. So there is fungi and there is fungi. Both are different. One is, American pronunciation and one is British. So we can use both. I can also, use alternatively. Nowadays, both of the pronunciation are in use. So I hope you will understand that. Okay. So why we are actually classifying these living things? First of all, have you seen a library? So in library, you classify books according to, different subjects and, the level, or, starting from first grade, second grade, fiction, then non-fiction. So you have classified these books so that you can easily pick them out and read whenever you want to. Similarly, when you want to study an organism, you have to classify them first so that you know the characteristics, because in a fiction book you know that this is going to be, or this holds fictional stories. Okay, so similarly you must know that organisms will be having what sort of characteristics. Okay, so that comes from the classification, right? So scientists originally grouped all the life into just two kingdoms, that is Plantae and Animalia. Later on, what happened, that this system was, it couldn't explain the prokaryotic organisms or the different kinds of extra organisms which were there, who did not hold any qualities which were similar to a Plantae or Animalia. Okay, so this simple system couldn't explain prokaryotes, fungi or fungi, like I told you. Then unicellular eukaryotes, that did not fit either category. Okay, then came the Whitaker solution. So R.H. Whitaker, okay, Robert Whitaker was the one in 1969 who proposed five kingdom classification, and so far there have been more, you can say more scientists have tried to classify organisms, but we follow usually, or NCRTs follow this rule of five kingdom classification. Okay, so that was given by who? Robert Whitaker, not Hooke. Hooke was who discovered cell, right? And in 1969. Now comes the kingdom Monera, Protista, fungi or fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Okay, let's talk about Monera first. So the prokaryotes. 1 second. So these are the prokaryotes. Now, first, let me tell you the difference between a prokaryote and a eukaryote. So there are two types of cell depending on what sort of nucleus do they hold. Okay. So there is prokaryotic or prokaryotes. Okay, and there are eukaryotes. Okay, so prokaryotes is primitive. Pro means primitive, and karyon or karyote. Okay, so karyon is related to nucleus always. So you have to remember it as related to nucleus. Okay, and here U is well developed, you can say, or it came later, advanced. Okay, and karyote means nucleus. So what happened, in there are cells which do not contain a proper nucleus. Instead of that, they will have their DNA scattered like this. Okay, and this will be not a nucleus, this will be called as nucleoid. But in eukaryotes, the nucleus will be developed having two, double membrane structure like this, and it will be present either in the center, you can imagine it like this, or it will be present at the periphery in plants, you can imagine it. Okay, so nucleus where it is well defined, those organisms are called as eukaryotes, and those cells are called as eukaryotic cells. Whereas if you look at a prokaryote, so prokaryotes do not have a well-defined boundary or well-defined membrane for nucleus, and the DNA is just lying around in the cell. Okay, and that DNA is called as nucleoid. So this nucleoid is nothing but a DNA, or here this is complete nucleus. Okay, now the Monera kingdom always contains prokaryotes only. Okay, no eukaryotes are here. So what do we understand by that? We got to know that these organisms will not be having true nucleus. No well-defined nucleus, no true nucleus, only nuclei is going to be there. So in this structure here, you can see nuclei, right? This whole, spiraled or coiled structure is nothing but DNA lying just like that in the cell without having any membrane around it. Okay. Now, also one more thing which is very important here, Monera is unicellular. Now, let me explain you the term unicellular and, multicellular. So, if one cell of an organism is able to, do digestion, is able to do respiration, okay, is able to do respiration, right? Then it is able to do excretion. Then it has its own metabolism. Metabolism. If you do not know metabolism is the sum total of all the, you can say, reactions happening in a body. Okay, so photosynthesis, be it, you can say respiration, be it formation of protein, everything else is called as metabolism. Okay. So, if one single cell can do all these things, it is unicellular organism. Okay. But if, there are multiple cells and these cells, are making different organs and those organs are performing certain kind of, functions. There are excretory organs, there are reproductive organs, there are, digestive organs, and then those organs are made up of multiples of cells and performing one kind of function. So that is called as multicellular organism. Okay. So this is multicellular. This one could be, right? And this is unicellular. Okay. So here Monera is always prokaryotic in nature and it is unicellular. Okay. With no true nucleus. Genetic material floats freely in the cytoplasm. So here you can see it is floating like this, right? Then cell wall. So here there will be a strong cell wall. Even bacteria, or not only plants, even bacteria do have. So under Monera, no, all bacteria will come. Most of the bacteria will come under this. Okay. And this will be having a proper cell wall as well, like you can see here. So just like plants, these also have cell wall. Only organism or only kingdom. So we have, Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae, Animalia. So these four, the first four which I told, Monera, Protista, fungi, and this Plantae, they have cell wall. Okay, Animalia only doesn't have cell wall. So that also you have to remember. Now here, the cell wall could be different. All four can have different cell wall, different kind of cell wall, or cell wall made up of different things, right? Your wall can be made up of mud, or it can be made up of brick, or it can be made up of a glass as well, right? So depending on different kind of, what kind of it is made up of, it can be of different kingdom. So here in bacteria, mostly the cell wall will be peptidoglycan. That means there will be peptides. Peptides are nothing, but small parts of protein or, smaller molecules than protein. So before protein is formed, amino acids combine together to form peptide, okay, with a peptide bond. And glycan. Glycan is nothing but sugar, glucose, right? So these two combine in very small amount to make the wall of this, you can say, Monera. Okay, and this provides, obviously, cell wall is going to provide the shape and protection, right? Just like your walls of your houses provide shape and protection, right? It gives a shape to the house and also protects you from the outside environment. Now comes the reproduction. So reproduction, since single, cell is there, so not a very complex kind of reproduction is happening here. So this will go under binary fission. Okay, this will split up, okay, splitting into two. And two organisms will be formed. So suppose the nucleus was like this here, right? So nucleus will also divide like this, okay, and like this, and two new cells will be formed. Okay, spore formation for survival. Sometimes they produce spores also, and the spore will detach, okay, and grow into a complete new organism. What kind of nutrition is there? So both autotrophic nutrition is also there because they sometimes can have, photosynthetic pigments, and also heterotrophic nutrition as well is noticed. The example could be E. coli, okay, Escherichia coli, which is found in the intestinal bacteria, which is not a very good bacteria, you can say, for gut. Then Nostoc, which fixes the nitrogen. So cyanobacteria. Now, nostoc is a cyanobacteria, and methanogen. So this is archaebacteria, very primitive type of bacteria, and this is found. This can survive. These methanogens or archaebacteria can survive very extreme conditions as well. Okay, they can be found in archaebacteria can be found in extreme conditions, like you can say hot springs. Okay, that they can be found in cow dung as well. So methanogens are the ones which are found in the cow dung. Okay, so this is all about kingdom Monera. Now coming to kingdom Protista. So kingdom Protista is again unicellular, but it becomes eukaryotic. So only prokaryotic kingdom was your Monera. Okay, the eukaryotic but unicellular, but still stays mostly unicellular kingdom is called as Protista. Okay, now Protista actually has a true nucleus. So all the organisms in this category you will see that nucleus is true, well bounded by a membrane, double membranous structure it is. Okay, living primarily in aquatic environment. So most of the Protista you will see in water. Okay, now there are different types of it. So chrysophytes. Chrysophytes includes very beautiful diatoms. Okay, so here I had taken, just like this, these diatoms with glass-like cell walls. So cell wall will look glass-like and transparent to you, and golden algae also that can photosynthesize. So these are chrysophytes. Then comes the dinoflagellates. So dinoflagellates are actually having flagella to it. Okay, so these are marine planktons with two flagella, not one, two. Di. Okay, so two flagella. Some causes harmful red tides when they bloom. So if they grow in number a lot, they will in ocean, they will call, or in sea, red tides. Okay, because of their pigment. Okay, so because of that kind of pigment, they are red, they become red in color and they make the water red, which is harmful. Okay, then comes the euglena. Okay, Protista can look like a plant, it can look like an animal, and some of the Protista can have features like a fungi. Okay, so that we will see later. When you will study this topic in depth, you will be able to understand everything about this. Now coming euglenoids. So euglena can photosynthesize like plants, but move like animals using flagella. Okay, so euglenoids are showing qualities of both plants, okay, and animals. They can move using the flagella just like animals, but they can also photosynthesize like plants. Okay, then protozoans are Protista. Okay, so animal like Protista like amoeba, paramecium, plasmodium. So amoeba, then paramecium, and plasmodium I haven't taken here. So plasmodium is also there. Okay, so for plasmodium, so all these diverse group, they can cause, actually these protozoans usually end up causing a lot of diseases to us. Okay, so that we have to remember. So for Protista, we know these are unicellular eukaryotic organisms. There are different types like chrysophytes. So chrysophytes contains diatoms. Then dinoflagellates are there. Then comes the euglenoids. Euglenoids shows both kind of properties: plant like, photosynthesize, right, and animal like, it has flagella, so it can move. Then protozoans, they mostly contains the parasitic you can say organisms. For example, amoeba, okay, entamoeba histolytica, okay, then paramecium is there, and you can say plasmodium vivax, plasmodium ovale, which causes malaria. So that is also there. Okay, moving ahead to the last topic. So this is fungi or fungi. Okay, now mostly fungi or fungus, you remember this structure, right? But there are again different types here. So let's see. So these are eukaryotic. So now I have already told you only prokaryotic cell was there in Monera. Rest everything is eukaryotic. So you can imagine it like this. Okay, made with chitin. So cell walls are made with chitin. Okay, chitin is not cellulose. So its cell wall is not like plant, because plant cell wall is cellulosic in nature. Chitin is also one kind of polysaccharide sugar. Okay, it is one kind of carbohydrate only, but it has different structure. So it is chitinous. So we have to remember that fungus has its cell wall as chitinous. Okay, chitin, made up of chitin. Now, its body plan is a little bit different. So the network of thread-like hyphae forms mycelium. Okay, so these hyphae, these thread-like network will actually form the whole mycelium. Okay, so this whole fungal body. Now, here you will see that heterotrophic mode of, so here there is no phototropic mode of nutrition. They usually depend on other organisms for, feeding upon, and mostly act as decomposer. So whatever is breaking down in, around them, they will feed upon them. Even if you will leave a bread, open in moist area, in shady place, it will start getting, fungal decomposition on it. Why? Because it absorbs nutrients by breaking down the organic matter. Okay, so it breaks down the organic matter and starts feeding on it. So for example, dead animals, dead plants, or different kinds of leaf falling, so all these will be decomposed by these decomposers known as fungi. Okay, now comes the reproduction method. So asexual mode of reproduction produces spore for rapid spread. So what happens? This stalk-like structure is sporangiophore, okay, which contains, or on the top of which is present sporangium. Now this sporangium contains spores. Once it matures, it bursts out and different spores will be, released, and those spores will go to a substratum, you can say, and will, start growing again, hyphae and then mycelium. Now, sexual spores are also formed. So those are zygospores, ascospores, basidiospores. So these are the classes. We will discuss them in more depth, but for now I'll just give you a little bit overview of it. Okay, so there are mostly four classes of fungi. Okay, so fungi has Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycetes. So Phycomycetes mostly contains, they are found in moist environment, okay, and they contain rhizopus, bread mold, which is very common example of it. Ascomycetes is called as sac fungi. Okay, sac fungi, because if you will see, it's, it has a cup shape or a sac shape structure or bag like structure. That's why it is called as Ascomycetes. Okay, it includes yeast. Yeast is the only unicellular, you can say, fungi. Okay, so yeast is unicellular fungi. Remember that. That can be asked. Unicellular fungi. Okay. And Neurospora crassa. So Neurospora is also a type of, you can say, fungi. Spore form is in sac-like structure. So spore is formed inside the sac-like structure. That's why sac fungi. Then comes the Basidiomycetes. So these are club-shaped. You can imagine it as like club-shaped structure, like mushroom. Okay, so these mushrooms have club shape, right? To it, like this. Okay, and bract fungi with club-shaped spore structures are there. Now comes the Deuteromycetes. So these are called as imperfect fungi. Just like penicillin. So they can reproduce only asexually. So you might have realized that over a certain kingdom, if you are going through the classes and all, we will see that the characters are being modified. So characters from, basic characters, the characters increase towards or go towards the advanced characters, okay, throughout the classes. But here, as you go from Phycomycetes and reach to Deuteromycetes, you will notice that all the other, these Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, they can, they were able or capable of sexual reproduction. But Deuteromycetes are not capable of doing that. Okay, so that comes in picture that only Deuteromycetes is such that it cannot do sexual reproduction. So no sexual reproduction you will notice in Deuteromycetes, and that's why it is, fungi imperfecti, called as fungi imperfecti, because they are imperfect. They are unable to do a very advanced feature that they should be able to do. Okay, so now the role of fungus in our world. So it first of all decomposes. So it is environmental hero, you can consider. It helps in breaking down all the dead organisms and hence cleaning the environment, right? Then for food production also. So mushrooms, we know it has a lot of nutrition and it is being grown on a very large scale nowadays. Mushroom farming is being done, right? And then yeast is used for bread rising, for making cakes and all, baking cakes, and for making beer, right? So in beer fermentation also yeast is used, where it produces alcohol, right? So that is there. Then comes the medicine. So we know penicillium produces penicillin, and penicillin was a life-saving antibiotic used. Okay, so this is all the beneficial role. Now comes the harmful effects of a fungi. So it can cause a lot of diseases, okay, in plants and humans, and it can spoil and rot a lot of things. So if we look at the plant diseases, so it can cause wheat rust, it can cause, a lot of other smut, okay, barley smut and all those diseases. Then comes the human infection. So it can cause ringworm, athlete's foot, and other fungal skin conditions, okay. So it will cause rashes and itching. So that's why whenever, you should take precaution when you are, bathing, okay. So just dry your body properly, and even like if you are living in a very moist area or moist condition, okay, so then also you must take care. You must, if you're washing your clothes, sun dry it, not do not just dry it in your inside your house, okay. So those have a lot of chances to get fungus develop on those type of clothes or those environment, and then it will end up causing a lot of disease to you. So better avoid those situations, and dry your clothes properly, and then only wear it. Do not wear wet clothes, okay. All these things. Then food spoilage. So molds and yeast cause food rot, we know that, leading to a lot of wastage, and a lot of potential toxins can also be formed inside that, and if we eat, we will end up like what we can say is basically destroying our gut, okay, or our gut health. So this is all about fungi or fungi. Okay, so if we compare all three, on a very short basis, so let's do that. 1 second. Yeah. So cell type. So Monera is prokaryotic, rest protista is eukaryotic, fungi is eukaryotic, and if we look at the Plantae and Animalia as well, no. So this is also eukaryotic and eukaryotic. Now, cellularity. So Monera is unicellular, made up of only one cell. Protists are mostly unicellular. Some of them can be, multicellular. So unicellular or multicellular. Mostly multicellular. Plants and animals are mostly multicellular. You know that. Then coming to nutrition. So nutrition here, autotrophic, heterotrophic, both kind of nutrition is seen in Monera. In Protista kingdom, again, both kind of nutrition method is seen. In fungi or fungi, heterotrophic nutrition only, because they are feeding on, they are decomposers, okay. So they're feeding on the dead and decaying matter. Then comes the cell wall. So here Monera cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. This is important, you have to remember. There can be different kinds of cell wall in Protista, okay, that we will see in depth in the classes, okay. And then come the chitinous cell wall of fungi. This is also important, okay. So I hope you understood all this. Okay, try answering these questions now by yourself. So who proposed the 5 kingdom classification system? Okay, then I have given some hints also, so you can just look back. Give 2 examples of each: Monera, Protista, and fungi. Then what is the fungal cell wall made up of? I told you this is an important question. And which kingdom includes amoeba and paramecium? Okay, so this kingdom actually is unicellular eukaryotes. It has, and mostly found in pond water. So you have to try figuring this out. Okay, thank you so much for joining the session. I hope you understood whatever I have taught you in this chapter. If you have any doubt, okay, or like any doubts in the topic, you can ask me, and in depth we will cover it in the regular classes, because this is going to be, a lot more than what we have time right now. Okay, so yeah, thank you. Take care. Bye bye.